That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
All right, what is up, fam? We are back. Another episode of the Weekly Roundup. I'm your host, as always, Steve Rochelle, being joined by this goofball to my right, Mr. Daniel Bakley. Zach Burr will be here with us momentarily at some point. I know he's he's umpiring. You know, things are running late, injuries, things of that nature. So he'll be with us. We're gonna have some fun tonight. We're gonna be talking some Phillies, talking some Sixers playoff basketball. They're doing the thing right now, just as well as our Phillies are. We'll be joined by Jermaine Jones. Obviously recurring guest here. Definitely a good time to have him on. He's got a bunch of things going on. In his post-career life. Books coming out, charity stuff going on. He's been doing some teaching kids basketball, doing some things like that, and it was right around here up in the Northeast a few months ago. I think it was like the end of February. So he's doing all kinds of things. We'll try to talk some football.
He just finished up in North Carolina yesterday too.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk some football in the second hour. We'll do some MMA. We'll get some of all of our listeners post game thoughts on both our Phillies versus the Marlins and the Sixers versus Raptors. Kicking off game one here as our boys are holding on to that lead right now. Getting close to the end. Getting to the end of that third quarter there. So we'll see how that goes. And just like each and every one of our episodes here at the Weekly Roundup is brought to you by our good friend Alan Foy and our people over there at eXp Realty. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, you're looking to change a career brokerage, contact Alan Foy of eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820 or visit him at alanfoy@exprealty.com. And getting into our poll question, obviously coming in tonight, everyone was a little worried about our offense. Some a little early April stumbles. Couple games back to back. Bats were a little non-existent there. Fans were getting a little upset. People were already talking about it. This and that. I want to see what everyone's thoughts are. We'll get Daniel's thoughts here in a few minutes too as well. If this Phillies offense is, is it a big concern this early in the season? Agree to disagree. I mean, obviously, we're 4 or 5 games in. Come on, guys. We don't need to be hearing this. We're gonna have some fun tonight. And my personal opinion, listen, absolutely, the Phillies offense isn't a big concern this early. Not at all. Is it? One of the things that we were talking about last week is I think the biggest thing is just we need to find some consistency, and that's all. It's early in the season. You're trying to find where all the pieces fit. It was a crazy offseason. We had a lot of revamping to our lineup. There was, obviously a lot of weirdness around the beginning of the season, considering the labor disputes, etc. So I still don't think any team should have this much of concern about offense this early in the season. Let alone our Phillies.
And then we had Muniak, who was tearing it up in spring training. He goes down like 1 or 2 days before the season starts, so he's going to miss probably 2 more weeks, and then hopefully we'll come back and then they'll plug him in there, and hopefully he can get back to that killer start that he had in the spring. But just today, we came into today with the poll question, and then of course, of all things to happen, you had Bryce Harper steer home today which is of all things to happen, he steals home. So
Yeah, right.
and then the bats were heavy in the first 2 innings. It's still 8-0 right now, Phillies, but this is the kind of game that you needed after the past couple of games against the Mets and the Marlins, where they were just teeing on you. You weren't hitting. You were getting halfway decent pitching from your starting rotation, and then the hitters just couldn't help them out. Like you can't expect the pitchers to have like 1-0, 2-1 games where you're losing those. So you got to win those within that. But to get 8 runs now is good. Let's hope that this is the start of a good hitting streak for these bats.
Like I said, I expect them to get hot, white hot at some point in time. We do have big expectations for this lineup, especially with how things change rule wise with Major League Baseball moving forward. I'm excited. We'll see. You never know what could come with potential trades and things of that nature. What this team looks like. Post trade deadline, things of that nature. You never know. This should be a fun team to watch, none the least. Me and you and Zach have already talked about our concerns with the pitching. I still think no matter what, the bats will straighten themselves out one way or another at some point in time. People need to just pump the brakes on already lighting fires after two back to back bad games. It's gonna they'll run into a few losing streaks. It's baseball. Come on, people, stop.
I agree with you on that one. It's very early. You're gonna go as long as you keep this lead, which they should. It'd be crazy if they go blow this. There'll be, I believe, 4-5, which is respectable considering how bad their bats have started. But at least you have half of your bullpen has looked good. There's been guys in the bullpen that have not done so well, but then there's been guys that you can see that are doing well, getting guys out. It sucks that you had what's his name go out due to a personal issue, and then they brought up Knievel, and then they brought in Jeff Singer, a local kid out, Darren, to fill in his spot until he comes back. But you're at least seeing
Rob. What's up, Rob?
What's going on? But at least you're seeing better pitching from the bullpen than you did all last year. It's a lot better. It still has room for improvement. We still need to see more out of Aaron Nola right now. But you're at least seeing Ranger Suarez having a good game now, being up 8. It makes things easier for him to get a really good start out where he can probably go 6-7 innings and have less of a wear and tear on the bullpen tonight with that 8-0 lead, and you can give guys put in and get them.
It's early. It's what, the 4th or 5th inning now?
I believe it is. Let me put in. And by the way, it's 98-82. Sixers with 1 minute left in the third. But it is the midway through the 5th.
Yeah. So.
Midway through the 5th, and I think he's only pitched. Let me check. I'll see how many pitches that he has in right now. He has 61 pitches. So that's really good through 5 innings. And realistically, you could probably get at least 2, maybe 3 more innings out of him, as long as he can keep it within like 15 pitches each inning. But I'll say he goes 7 innings in this one, and then you just have to use 1 or 2 relievers for the last 2.
Yeah, hopefully you don't have to go too deep tonight, especially when you get a big one, a big lead on a team who's been your personal nightmarish kryptonitis type team. You're able to kind of stick it to them tonight. I think is probably the real icing on the cake. All right, what's Rob gonna say? Not a good start for the offense,
Yeah.
Grease of the pole is it's a marathon, not a sprint. See that's my thing. Like, listen, like I think
Yeah.
us as Philadelphia fans, we're used to everything completely setting on fire and crumbling around us. So
Yeah.
the slightest little sign of it, we're we're on it like a magnifying glass. It's just
And just like always, the Mets are off to a great start, 6-2. But usually around June is when they start dropping. And they always start well, and then they start falling down. So I want us to at least stay within range of them a couple games, because the
I
Mets
mean,
have the
in
talent.
reality, obviously, it's New York. It'll always be the rivalry,
Yeah,
but like Atlanta's the team you want to best this year.
it is, but they have a lot of bad like media surrounding them right now. You got
They're
guys.
still they're listen they're still the class of the NL right now. Listen,
Yeah.
you
I will say this. I will say this. I think that's going to get to them later on, because usually Atlanta has no media on them. They can just play ball. They got a great team, but then when you still have them talk about Freddie Freeman, where it's like you got fans and guys on the team saying making the comment that it's going to be like the Freddie Freeman was never there because they're trying to talk up Matt Olson. And don't get me wrong, Matt Olson's great. I wanted him on the team, but when you had a guy like Freddie Freeman, who was the face of the franchise for the past 10 years, and he just helped win you a World Series, and you're going out there saying it's like he was never on the team, we replaced him very easily. It's like you're kind of downplaying the kind of guy he was for you, just to talk up your new first baseman. And I feel like that's a bad mistake. I would go out and say we thank him for helping us win a World Series. We couldn't talk up a contract, so he went his other way. We thank him for it, but we feel good about Matt Olson. You say something like
listen
that.
in this day and age. I don't get why you get all butthurt because my man goes out and gets a payday that you clearly didn't want to give him. He wanted to be compensated. You guys just won the whole damn thing. You can't bring him back. It is what it is.
And one of the biggest guys talking about him is Acuna, and Acuna was hurt all like half of last year, and he didn't even play that whole playoff push in World Series. He didn't play at all. So it's like, of all guys to say something about him, he's one of the guys that shouldn't be saying anything.
Regardless of the fact, like, listen, even if you feel that way, to sit there and like you know what's gonna happen, dude. Like you don't need this type of publicity, good, bad, or indifferent for from a team who's trying to make sure they don't become just another one of those one and done type teams, which is we've been running into a lot in major sports over the last handful of years here. We haven't been able to keep those winners going. We haven't been able to get our newer dynasty, so to speak. So we'll see what happens over the next few years. I don't believe Atlanta is going to be able to do that, especially when you're going down this road. But what. Getting back to the Phillies, not keeping too much on some of the exterior noise. What are some of your I guess early few months of expectations out of this team. We all know they're going to have their highs, they're going to have their lows. We're going to start getting into the dog days of summer before we know it. So what are your some of your early projections? What do you want to see out of this team to keep them in that conversation above the Mets, clipping at the Braves, etc. Whoever's at the top of the standings.
Well, the first thing, like I preach this all the time, I want to see very good bullpen play. I want to see him be able to come in and close games out, because we were the worst team in baseball last year with, I think, 30 or 40 blown saves. And we could have made the playoffs had you cut that deficit a little bit and just if it would have been 20 to 30, they would have made the playoffs. Yeah, easily. but because they had so many blown saves, it put him outside of the playoff push and allowed other teams to jump him there. So I want to see a very good bullpen play right now. They're doing pretty decent. I want to see him continue that trend. I want to see Aaron Nola get back to form because Wheeler has looked pretty good. As we speak, Suarez just gave up 2 runs. And Joshua, I'll get into that in a second when we start talking Sixers, because he just had a monster third period. But and then I want to see Harper wake up a little bit. He's starting to wake up a little bit. He had 3 RBIs yesterday. He stole home today. I want to see more power from him. And then, of course, the last thing is I want to see them when he comes back. I want to see a lot of Mickey Muniak. I want to see him use him a lot. You know, they had the talks about Joe Girardi wasn't a big Mickey Muniak fan, and that's why he wasn't playing, and he had to kind of talk himself into the rotation with that monster spring training. I want to see Girardi put him in the lineup, play him, and then let him develop. You can't have a say of how the guy's doing just by playing him for one game and then sending him and then playing one game. I want him to play him. I want him to get those reps, and I want to see him hit that ball over the fence a few times and show that he can hit for power and be a force in the lineup, because they could put him at that 2 spot or the 6 spot, and that's a guy that you're going to have to pitch to. You can't just pitch around him, and he might see some good pitches because of it.
Look, to counter your thing, I still think, Bryce will get, what he's been giving us the last few years, all-star caliber, MVP level performance numbers, etc. I think the fact that you bring a few bats in here, able to give him some guys, around him to also produce. You've seen that through the first few games with the A's there, that they are capable of it when they're able to start going on a tear. I think this lineup should be fun to watch, especially in Citizens Bank Park. It's just consistency from some of these guys that we known to fall off. We need to see from we need to see Reese. 25. I would like to see him in a 30-30 club. That would be excellent from that kid, that position. Maybe wishful thinking, but who knows? We as long as this team continues to find that happy medium, that consistency and things of that nature, I think. I think they'll do real well early on. We'll see if this team can pull it all together, and get over the hump, get in the playoffs, win a playoff series. Let's see what happens. It should be fun. It should be a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I think everyone should just not get too hung up on some expectations and just actually enjoy watching a baseball team. They win over the luxury tax for once. Like, just enjoy the team for once and see what happens. You can't get hung up on sitting there saying, the front office didn't do enough. We've been hard on them for a lot of years for a lot of reasons.
I was happy with what they did this offseason.
Absolutely.
They started out iffy, but
that's the thing. That's the thing. I think we should just enjoy what the product is on the field this year and let it be what it is.
It's kind of yes and no, because with that, you also have to know that we have the longest playoff drought in baseball right now.
I'm not sitting there saying not have the expectation of the postseason. I'm not saying that at all.
But you want it with how they're opening the checkup for players like they did. There's going to be expectations now with who you have on it, and with how that lineup is. They have a lineup that should win and should put them in the conversation to make the playoffs. And you have to start beating the Marlins. Like the Marlins have always been have good games.
Like I said, man, they've been our personal nightmare, kryptonite, however you want to call it.
And then you kind of get lucky against the Mets, where Alec has 3 errors, and then you still somehow win the game. But then the next 2 games, you blow the leads, and the Mets win those games, and you allow the Mets to get a little bit of momentum, and then you go and lose to the Marlins in a game that you probably should have won the other day. And it's all because of offense. But to me, the most important person is Aaron Nola. That's my most important person to get going, because you need that second guy to go at Wheeler.
I said it before we came in this year. I didn't think the offense was the bigger issue. I still feel like the pitching staff is going to be the thing, is going to be the determining factor. Is if we make the playoffs and if we win a series, go on a run, etc., is going to be up. If we get quality pitching from the top 5 guys, you have to get it. You have to get it. You have to get it. If you get that, you eliminate a lot of the other things that have been hampering this team.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens. They're doing good tonight. It's starting the foot in the right direction of getting that bad juju of the Marlins off of us.
Yeah, if we could get 2 starting pitchers going, and then that bullpen look halfway decent right now, then you're in good shape. You're in very good shape, especially just like you said, with the bats needing to wake it up. They tend to start out slow in the colder months, and then as the summer hits, that's when we start hitting the ball really crazy. And I'm confident that the bats will wake up. It's just like we said, it's all about the pitching, and right now the pitching's been pretty decent. They've kind of had to do a lot working with how the bats haven't been hitting this. Like when you're relying on pitchers to pitch 70 innings in like a close 1-0 game, it does a lot to those pitchers. But as long as they're pitching well in those, even if you lose them 1-0 like a couple of times, it's still good to know that you still pitched that well. And it was just the fact that you couldn't get help from the offense to get the win. And it's like a good thing down the line, because once those bats hit and then you already have good pitching, then you're ready to go.
Well, I'm gonna give I know the faithful definitely want to get a change of pace here as our Sixers are doing a thing.
Yes,
I think they're kind of the talk of the town right now until right after the draft and the Eagles become the dominating force here in the Philadelphia area. But as we switch gears here real quick, this segment of the weekly roundup is brought to you by manscaped.com. Make sure you head over there, use that 20% off code. That's free shipping with that code A2D at manscaped.com. That's 20% off, free shipping with the A2D code manscaped.com. It's time to clean the boys up, and then they got some other products there. They got some fun stuff over there. And like I was telling you guys, make sure you're using these codes, because I'm adding some more things into the giveaway lot here. I'm going to be working with Tom. We'll see what if it's going to be a specific sponsor, whatever. We got some more things to unload. I did 2 on my Facebook and Twitter this week. We're going to have some fun with that. But again, manscaped.com, A2D. Make sure you're using that code. And getting to the first comment is our good friend Joshua here on YouTube. Maxie's going off, so Daniel said he wanted to touch on that. So tell the people how Max is doing tonight.
Okay, right now,
Max is doing his thing.
He has 36 points right now with the 9 minutes left in the fourth. We're up 112-94 right now. Of course, 9:06 left. I believe he doubled his points from halftime all the way to the third. So he doubled his points just in the third period.
So as Josh was sitting there, Maxie's going off. Is anyone still worried about Harden? Not being the superstar that listen, as long as he's
Whoa,
still
whoa,
an
whoa.
all-star,
Well, he
as long
had
as
a good
Harden's
yeah.
still an all-star, he makes this team so much better.
Yeah.
I've been now, I know when we go talk about the series, and we're gonna have some fun over the next handful of days and seeing how our boys do. But we already seen some of the NBA figureheads who do the games. Talking sweep. I've seen people sitting there saying us in 5. How are you feeling after looking like they're gonna go one up on Toronto? We talked before, they've had played us tough in games. I thought that this or the Bulls would have been a nice get the wheels moving in the first round. How are you feeling now? Looking like Maxi's gonna be making a statement this year in the playoffs. Look at that.
Well, look at him. He's shooting 13 for 18. He's 5 for 7 from 3-point range. Going into halftime, Harden only had 10 points and 10 and 8, but now he's 19 points and 13 assists. Now he's shooting better out of that. He was 3 for 10. Now he's 5 for 14. 14. So he's picking it up, and you potentially are going to have 5 guys to shoot over 20 points as long as 4, as long as Embiid and Harden could get one more point each. They both had 19. You got 23 from Harris, 36 from Maxey, of course. But I think the one thing that was kind of interesting fact in the game is the backup center right now is Paul Reed. It's not DeAndre Jordan. Of course, Paul Reed has played 7 minutes right now in the game. They have not used DeAndre Jordan at all. They've gone with Thibault, Nang, Milton, and Reed as the bench guys in place of the starters when they come in, and they're doing pretty decent right now on the bench. But you're getting a lot of production from those starting 4, and of course Green only has 2 points. This is what you expected from putting that lineup together. You expected Embiid to have a game like he was. He started out hot, but he hasn't had to do everything. He's kind of been able to play backseat right now, which is great. Like, you got the guy, like an MVP caliber player like Embiid, and he only has to shoot 13 times. That's it. He's 6 for 13. He's gone to the line 11 times. 9 of those points, 9 of the 19 points are from the line. He's kind of had like an easy game where he's just been like a background player, you would say.
I mean, you got to think about it like this: like when you see how things played out,
Yeah.
with the season, with the past handful of seasons, and just to think of like how many teams passed on Maxey for him to fall to us that year, and
he was a top 10 player that fell for I think medical reasons. I think it was either that or just off court issues, and he fell to us at 21, I believe it was. And he's been a great player. He's come in the right way. He talked about embracing the city. He had a good year last year. He was one of the positive pieces in last year's playoff team. He had that game against the Hawks where he just took the game over. I think it was game 4 or 5. And he allowed us to sit Simmons and get rid of Simmons, basically, because we had a point guard like Maxey that could come in there. He's had great games. He's had so-so games where he's kind of disappeared. But for him to come in the game run right now, have 36 points, that's huge. And as long as he could stay consistent with that and he get a play out of this is going to be something good for Embiid, where you don't have to have Embiid score 40 points to win. He can score 19 like he has, and you're up by almost you're up by like 15 to 20 points right now. It's actually 22 now. So that you could probably sit Embiid now if you wanted to for like a couple minutes. And if you keep the lead, you could sit him for the rest, and he won't be as used. You can kind of keep him fresh for game 2.
Listen, man, when you get an advantage like this, where how much is left in the fourth now?
There is 8 minutes left in the fourth. It's
Yeah.
116-94.
See, like I'm with you there. Pull JoJo and give B-ball Paul some minutes and
Yeah.
let's see what happens game two. If you can get up to 2-0 on these guys and put yourself in the driver's seat, put away all those those naysayers who was worried about this team less than a week ago. Remember, we were talking about it last week, man.
A lot. Right now they're sitting Maxey right now. Right now, I think they still have Harden and Embiid in, but I think once you get the 5 minutes, and if it's still at this 22-point lead, then easily pull those two guys. Maybe you have one of them in, and maybe Harden in, but definitely, I think the plan is if they keep it like this, I bet you they take out Harden and Embiid. They put Maxey back in that way because of how he's playing, and then you can kind of ride that for the last 5 minutes.
Listen, man. Looks like we're gonna go up 1-0 on them. But what are you feeling? You feeling 5 games, 6 games sweep?
I'm feeling 5 because I still feel like there's the chance that Toronto could win a game on the road, especially with Thibault, who can't play in Toronto, and that's one of your bench pieces right there. I think that's why they moved the Green in the starting rotation, because they knew at some point Thibault wasn't going to be able to play, and I think it's only going to affect them this round because it's only because of Canada that they can't use them in Toronto. So you're going to have have somebody play in Toronto that normally doesn't play, so Green gets to move up to a starter, and they get him going, and then you just plug and play from there. And it's good to see Milton and have a decent game because he'll probably be one of the beneficiaries of that.
Listen, I think, like I said, I think this team can take the East. I'm not, underestimating the Bucks.
Yeah.
I just think this is one of the years where Joel has an extreme chip on his shoulder. I think the fact that you get Markel Fultz to kind of stand up and says, the reason why Joe isn't the MVP is just because they find any reason, that they can, being people involved in that process to discredit anything Joel and anything that has to do with what was the process. So I think he has an extreme chip on his shoulder. I think he alone can carry this team to the Eastern Conference Finals and potentially a finals berth. We'll see. Are you agree with Markel? It's it's not even necessarily one of those things where like some of the stuff we were talking about where the voters only vote on an X period of time during basketball. Well, Joel, is on the East Coast, and it makes him problematic for him to get X, Y, and Z votes, or was Markel right where just there's aspects that are involved in that process that has it out for a guy like Joel Embiid.
I don't think anybody has it out for him because he's just a good personality. Because you can use the West Coast.
Well, you know what
thing.
I mean. Like, it's not like you can Joel, use the West. You're an evil person. We're punishing you. That's not what I'm trying to say. But just
I know.
But
when I look at the West
hinder
Coast,
the process more, I guess I would say.
Yeah. When I look at the West Coast, East Coast thing, you can kind of use that against both things, because when you're on the East Coast, you're going to have those primetime games, and it hurts the West Coast because they're playing at 10 o'clock. And then vice versa, when you have them playing their 8 o'clock games, they're not seeing the East Coast games. It goes both ways, because we're sleeping once the late games go on, but then they're already getting ready to watch this, and then they're already like eating dinner or whatnot when we're playing. So it's like it goes both ways. I think, to me, what hurts Embiid is he has it in scoring and rebounding, but it's all about getting the other players involved. And I don't think he looks to do that. That's just his thing. He scores, he gets in the paint and whatnot. And if you're gonna go into voting, and we've talked about this before between him and Jokic, and if he's only scoring a couple points more per game than Jokic, but then Jokic, and then they both rebound just about the same. They're both in the top 5, but then Jokic is averaging 6 assists more per game than him at that 5 position, and they both have the same record. You're more so as a casual, you're going to go for the guy with the better stat lineup because it shows that he's doing more. And like I felt like going into it, I leaned towards Jokic just because they both had the same record. Had the Sixers had 5 more wins, I probably would have went Embiid. But like just like they said, they interviewed Harden. They asked Harden why he wasn't playing as well, and he said, I was trying to help Embiid win the MVP. So he was trying to feed him the ball a lot more than shooting, which I don't know if that's actually true or not. It could be, but it's like when you have similar things, like you got to put yourself out there more, and it's kind of hard to go against a guy who just had to set the record for most efficient season ever, and not just this year but ever. It's kind of hard to go against that guy. And they were, I think, a 5 or 6, and we were 4 seeds. So it's not like we were that much better, and we have a better team than them. So we kind of didn't play up to our standards, I would say. We should have done better. There's no way that this team on paper should have been a 4 seed. They should have been a 1 or 2 seed, and that being a 1 or 2 seed would have locked that in. I think the MVP.
All right, well. Our guest for this afternoon is here, and let's quick change gears here.
Yep.
And bring our guest on, and this segment is brought to you by FanUp. Is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NBA contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up, use that promo code A2D for 5,000 points, and that's about $50 worth of value. That's the FanUp app. Hit them up, check them out. And speaking of checking it out, what's up, Jermaine? How you doing this afternoon and this evening?
How you doing, gentlemen? What's going on?
How's it going?
We're doing great. How about yourself, sir? How you feeling tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Especially to see the Sixers winning.
Yeah, man, Max is tearing it up right now, man.
Yeah.
Look at
that. He's looking to go for 40 right now. I think he just hit 37 and 38 just a minute ago. They're up by 22 right now.
You agree with the TNT guys? You think they're gonna sweep the Raptors, or they'll go 5 or 6 with them?
Yeah, I think the Raptors will probably get one game. I don't think the Raptors are a good team. They played tough all year and been real gritty, but when it comes down to playoffs, and you need some kind of talent, and I don't think they're that talented as a group.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, but our boys are doing their thing. Joel's been on absolute fire this year. Fell a little short with the MVP. I was just telling Daniel, I think that's going to give Joel a little chip on his shoulder. I mean, I think he's got 2 guys around him with Harden, with Maxey that he can go run up and down the floor and cause some havoc with. You think this is the year that the Sixers finally get over the Brett Brown curse and get to the conference finals and potentially a finals berth?
I think it really depends on James Harden. If we can get James Harden to how patient he's been playing tonight. I love the way he's been playing and, running the point guard position, getting everybody involved. But I think he's going to be the key person on determining if the Sixers go further, because the East stacked this year, man. I think anybody can possibly, come out of the East out of 4 teams, to be honest with you.
But what do you think? What do you think with that one? You got something on the rebound there, Daniel?
No, I agree with them. From what I've seen ever since they've got Harden, he's been very beneficial to Maxi's game because it allows him to see more shots. And now Maxi kind of doesn't have to worry about facilitating too much. He can let Harden do that. Harden's kind of been the guy getting everybody involved. He gets a lot of his points from the line. He's 6 for 7 from the line right now today, so a little bit down. But when you're up this much, Harden has had to worry about that. Plus, he's got Maxi involved. I said earlier at the time he was 13 for 18, 5 or 7 from 3. So he's been hot. I think he had like 15 or 16 points in the third quarter. And it just so happens when that happened, Harden started to get a little bit more involved in it too. And Embiid was able to kind of not have to do too much. I don't even think he scored in the second half at all. I think he's been stuck on 19 points since halftime, and you still got that 20-point lead. I think the one thing that I've liked about this game was the fast start by Tobias Harris. That's the thing that you wanted to see. That's you had the 3 that you had before, but he gives them that fourth option. And right now he has 26 points. He looks like he might break the 30 mark if he keeps it going. And it's going to be hard for teams to compete when 4 of your starting 5 are over 20 points in the game. It can kind of mask the fact that your bench isn't doing as much. And then when we were talking about the games, how many games we think that the Sixers would win it in, I made the point that Matisse won't be able to play in Toronto, so you're going to have to get somebody to take his spot on the bench in that game, and that's why I think that Toronto will be able to at least take one game from him.
Well, I think it's going to be extremely hard for 4 players to average 20 points a night or more. I don't think that can be sustainable to be able to do that. I think the key players got to be the big 3 guys, and Tobias just does, all the little things and get 10 points here and there and defend and do the things that he's capable of doing. If he can come in and be that spark and give the energy that the Sixers need, I honestly think they really got a chance at winning it all, because the champion will come out of the East this year.
Do you think it would be okay if Harris continues this, and then that kind of allows Harden to have less pressure on him? He just has to facilitate the ball and then try to get to the line as much as possible. Or do you think Harden has to try and get himself more involved in the game from a scoring standpoint?
I don't think there's a such thing as Harden having less pressure on him. If you think about it, even starting back in, when he was with Oklahoma City, if he would have just averaged 10 points during the series, they would have won the championship. With OKC, you think about the times he was in Houston, throughout his career, the further he went, the more he's known for, not being able to finish games. So I think now to be able to get that stigma off of him, the pressure is on him. There's there's no pressure on him. This year is so much pressure on him more than any other year, being the fact that you have an MVP caliber player like Joel Embiid and the pieces that you have, which I think can win it. So it should be motivating to James Harden to be able to step in and be able to kill the stigma of him not being able to finish games.
Listen, I think, like I was sitting there saying, like right beforehand, I think everyone had a lot of expectations when we brought James in. I think with what you already have here, the fact that he doesn't have to be like that superstar that he was when he was with OKC, Houston, etc. Like where he necessarily could be either the second or even possibly the third type guy on any given night. I think is unique for him. I think you're right that I think the fact that he's here with Joe, that he has the chance now to take that monkey off his back, that he can't finish games, that he was this problem all along. I think the fact that he's here in this environment with the fan base that we have, the team that he's on right now, I think he's gonna I think we might see a different James Harden in this playoffs. I do. That's just how my gut reaction about it. Yeah, I know we got a short sample size of it. I know people were, not happy about Doc with this, not happy with James with that. I still think you're right. It is going to be in the East. I still think that if we kind of iron a few little things out, get our rotations right, I think we could win the East and potentially a title. It's up to the guys on the court. How bad do they want it? If they could, as long as you don't get nicked up too as well. We know how playoff runs are at times. That's another key thing right there. We got to stay healthy, but I think they do have the attributes of what a championship caliber team is.
And they just took out Harden and Embiid, so it looks like they're done for the last few minutes of the game.
Hey, listen, when you get up 20,
Yep.
20 some odd points in game one, you're able to do things like that. Like I said, now we can roll it back up and see if you go up 2-0 and really kind of put the ball in your court where you even if you want to rest someone, some of these guys for game 3 and try to push it 4 and 5 to get them out of there, you can do that.
It's the playoff time. There's no time to rest. We're not looking for rest, man.
Yeah,
it's go time.
Isn't this team has been noon, between Harden and Embiid for getting rest games and maintenance days and things of that nature. I'm just thinking, of what we've known from these guys, and I agree with you. You're right. It is playoff times. No one should rest, but I'm just expecting what we normally see out of these guys. Now, and speaking of which, I want to quick change gears here real fast. You are the soles of your shoes like gone, man? Because you are on the move everywhere, man. Everywhere. Like every time I turn around and see a post from James, that he's got this charity event going on. He's having a basketball camp. You were right over here at my one of my old middle schools, right over here in Home Ave when you did that one here in Philly back. I think it was like February. I think it was the end of February. But I mean, you're all over the place, man. And then you have the book's finally coming out. You told us about it. I think the last time you were on.
Yeah, didn't it just come out yesterday? I believe it was
on the April 15th.
Yes,
April 15th. It came out.
We got to grab a copy of that. I got to get send a copy over to Jermaine. Got to get it signed, put up in the signed book collection I got over here.
Yes.
Yeah, I've just been trying to keep myself busy, man. That's one of the things, after being retired, man, you put so much work in a craft for so long, man. It's kind of like me just to turn that to what I do now, which is get out in the community and do what I can to help, whoever it is and, help our youth, get back to the youth, get back to our communities. Like I said, you guys know that I'm a big mental health advocate. So, just trying to give back, the things, I've been through, a lot of people go through a lot of things and keep it to themselves. And I just feel like it could be so much useful, just speaking out and, speaking with the kids and, giving them, it's too much experience I've had to be able to, not share it. So anytime I get an opportunity, that's when I do. I'm really excited about being an author now. Got that out. It's a lot of good things in there. It's kind of like an autobiography with a little, flip to it, man. Pretty much just talking about my life and, things I experienced, that people may not have known. So I'm interested to, see what feedback I can get from the book. Like I said, it came out April 15th, and I'm looking forward to, having some book signings.
And it's called Last Man Standing, correct?
Last Man Standing behind the game.
Yep, and from what I saw, you can. It's available on Amazon. So anybody listening now, get one of his book, Last Man Standing, and check it out.
I'm definitely going to grab a copy, and I need to get your address after the fact so I can get you to send it. So I can get you to sign it. Actually, I got to hit you up afterwards. I want to grab a few things for our listeners too. because we've been doing a bunch of giveaways over the past few months. I want to see if we can get some stuff from Jermaine. You know, I'll throw a few dollars on a charity too. See we can get some things going too. You know, I do want to hook you up with you know our one sponsor, Alan Foy. He's a basketball coach over there in Jersey. I know. I would love to hook you guys up to see if we can get you guys doing some more things. You know, with youth basketball and things of that nature. You know, as much as we love talking about the Sixers and pro, and you know, even some of the stuff. You know, it was a great year for college basketball as well. You know, you had you know, more or less you know, NCAA basketball royalty breakdown there in the you know, the Elite Eight there that it broke down to. You know, you had Duke, you had North Carolina, you had Kansas, you had Villanova, who's, you know, arguably, you know, put themselves in the argument of that elite over the last 15 years. It's kind of interesting, you know, some of these schools that were big, you know, back in the 80s, you know, kind of faded a little bit. Not that they're not prestigious programs, but they're not in the limelight anymore. You know, is it interesting to see how the game changes on every level? I mean, you've been involved in this sport for, you know, well over 30 years. We're in the 75th anniversary this year. You know, I think it's going to be a great year for the NBA as well. But so much has changed from everything. What's kind of the thing that you're looking forward to, you know, being involved moving forward with everything that's going on from each level?
I think it's very exciting, man. The game has evolved a lot. You know, I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day about, you know, probably the next 5 years, centers probably won't even exist in the NBA. You know, you got centers like Joel Embiid, who's capable of, you know, being able to shoot threes and do so many other different things on the court. So it has been expanding. A lot more threes have been taken. You know, the guys' skill level is so much higher. You know, they're getting better. You know, they're getting trained. You know, I tell people all the time, when I was coming up through playing basketball, we didn't have trainers. You know, we just kind of looked at television and watched our favorite players and tried to imitate, you know, whatever we seen. So, you know,
well, the way we get technology now compared to where it was when you were, you know, a young man, you know, up becoming an athlete, it's just so different. You had to have that family member that, you know, in your life to, you know, finding the right coaches, the right gyms, the right programs to kind of put you in that position. And then not only that, you know, you also had to make sure that, you know, you ate right, you took care of your body at home. Like, there was also a self-discipline that come with it. You know, some of these guys, I don't think they realize that, because I think, you know how much the sport has grown, you know, millionaires and billionaires, etc. You know, you have access to things where you could be a little lackadaisical about things. I think, you know, that part of the game definitely has changed along. You know, you have personal trainers, dietitians, you know, do this, do that, you have, you know, PR guys to do this right, do this for you. There's so many different layers to what professional sports has become. It's definitely fun to watch, but it's definitely, you know, it gets weird at times, I guess we could say, because sometimes it's not always about what goes on, you know, on the court, you know, in the arena, etc.
well, I think also, you know, it's pretty much like my organization, Beyond the Hardwood. You know, that's the thing that these kids really got to get now. But, you know, the skill level is there. You know, once we can get in and have those conversations about what's, you know, just as important as going on the court and scoring basketball, like you just mentioned. You know, financial literacy, you know, just, you know, getting enough rest and doing the things, you know, to keep your body playing 82 games. So it's so much going into the game of basketball that people don't realize. And those kind of conversations I like to have, you know, with our youth, to be able to put them on a level to help them, you know, proceed and you know, be the best athlete that they can be. But they got to understand that it's more than just basketball.
I've noticed that with the guys coming out of college, a lot of them have a lot of athleticism and skill, and they do very good at the high school and college level. But once you transition to the NBA, with how guys get drafted in the first round. That's when you start seeing who's going to make the commitment to get to the next level, eating right, putting the work in the gym, practicing extra because you want to do good for the team. It makes the difference between you being a role player or a guy just on the team to being one of the stars on the team, putting the work in. I know with Embiid came out like he had the athleticism. I remember the story of him saying that he came out and the way he learned was watching a tape of Hakeem Olajuwon, and that's how he learned to start playing basketball. And then he came here, and everybody in Philly the first couple of years made the big deal about him eating cheeseburgers and whatnot all the time. And then now
McDonald's.
he's finally
McDonald's.
And now he's finally embraced the nutrition side. He works out all the time, and you see the difference in his game. He's made that leap to being one of the best players in the NBA, and it's also not a shock that he's getting hurt less now as well.
Well, it's really just pretty much just being a professional. You know, that was one of the things that I pride, you know, with myself once I got older in the NBA and having guys, you know, like Aaron McKee and the Eric Snows and those veteran guys that's been around to be able to pull as much knowledge as you can, and they're teaching, you know, guys how to be professional, because at the end of the day, even college is a business now. So, you know, it's about just being professional and doing the things that you're supposed to do. And you love the game. That's the easy part. You know, the things that's tough is not doing the things that you love doing coming up as a kid, and understanding, you know, you are a professional and you should be held to certain standards to be able to keep your body to be able to perform at a high level.
Now, what is that probably one of the more important things you probably tell these kids, on top of, you know, making sure your education is right, but also make sure your body is being taken care of, like some of these guys spoil their cars, put all this money into take care of your body the same way you want your car to look all nice, right?
Hey, look here, man. I tell people all the time, you know, people look at me that, you know me, they always say, like, who are you to give advice? I was like, man, the best person to give advice are the people that did a lot of things wrong. You know what I mean?
Listen, people don't understand when it comes to that. Like, I don't get, like, someone sitting there like you know, like, if you had a guy, you know, maybe didn't have the greatest career ever, like, why did this guy write a book or do? I'm like, well, you have to know, like he probably had a bunch of yes men around him. Oh no, you don't, you know, you're good. You'll keep doing what you're doing, but you know, going through those failures and things like that, like you look back at things in retrospect, like, I wish I did this differently. I wish I did that differently. But, you know, to sit there and be like that, I can't hear from Jermaine Jones because, you know, he wasn't a superstar in the NBA for X amount of years is just the most asinine thing. It's probably the most you know 2022 thing that we have nowadays. It's just like because you weren't the superstar that you shouldn't have a book. You should be teaching. Why? Because you have all those things experiences in life. This went wrong, that went right. Like it went right enough for you to get to that level, but it's not like, you know, you were just this complete another failure as an NBA player. It's one of these things. Like I always love talking to guys like you, because you guys have other aspects to the NBA that, you know, you might not get from that superstar or all-star or Pro Bowl level. Well, you know, whatever sport we're talking about, you know, or that big's going on at the moment. It shouldn't matter if I'm talking to Jermaine Jones or if I'm talking to Allen Iverson. It should be the same level.
Well, I mean, I think now, you know, the generation has changed a bit, and they're being able to acknowledge it. I mean, at the end of the day, let's be honest here. I mean, I am part of a 1%. 99% of the world couldn't do the thing that I did for 8 years in the NBA. So, you know, just, you know, the thing is, the reason why I wanted to write the book is to be able to get more out. People talk me and like, man, Jermaine, if you want more speaking engagements, you need to write a book. So, that was one of the things that encouraged me to go ahead and put things down on paper, in hopes that I can be able to get more opportunities to speak to our youth, to speak to people in our communities about mental health and how important it is, and be able to give back and talk about the things that I did wrong and how I changed them, and how I'm in the space that I'm in now. So I think that's important, to be able to talk about these things and own up to them and try to help the kids not go through the same things that you went through throughout your career.
Oh, Danny.
Yeah, and with all that, every player is going to have their own different point of view on it. Whether you're a star, you're a role player, you're just a guy there for a couple of days, they're all going to have their different point of view about it. Whereas, like, I think you would be a great one, just because if you're not making millions and millions of dollars like one of the top stars, you're going to have to worry about managing your money better. You got to worry about managing your time. Whereas those guys, they're going to get all those endorsements. They're going to get all that time. They're going to have the pressure, but it's going to come easier for them with that. Like here, guys like LeBron James, I thought it was cool to find out that he has a plan out where he only uses his endorsement money when he spends anything, and he just saves everything from his actual contract and doesn't touch it at all. So he has some sort of plan, but he has a lot of guys in his back.
He's in a unique situation where he got a lot of great endorsements over the years to be able to do something like that. And he's also finding himself in a unique situation where he's trying to stay around long enough to be able to at least play a season with his son. And you can't fault him for that, but I gotta ask you, Jermaine, do you feel like he's trying to hold on just a little bit too much longer? Is this season kind of putting a little bit more coals to that fire, that people that feel that way?
I honestly think he has 2-3 more good years in him left. Especially at his age, averaging 30 points. That's unheard of. Somebody that's been around playing that long. And still being able to come in and average 30. I think that's the highest average he's had at this age. I think that's tremendous, man. That just pretty much just lets you know how much work he put into his craft and how much he put, time into doing what's right. And, how can you not like a guy like that?
Do you think he's sticking around in LA, or do you think he might find another city?
I mean, it's hard to tell with LeBron. You never know. He's so business savvy, and he sit down and kind of, calculate things up, from afar. Nobody really knows how he's thinking in his mind. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up somewhere else.
I think the goal in LA was the fact that he was going to kind of take a back seat, per se, to Anthony Davis. And the one year that Anthony Davis stayed healthy, they won the championship in the bubble. It's just that he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And when he misses time, it's kind of had to elevate LeBron back to that one spot, which at his age, he was looking to play more of like the number 2 guy, even though is one of the best players in the NBA, of course. But he was looking to be able to do a little bit less, but he's had to kind of carry the load a little bit more. And then I think that's what's added to where he's at now, where he's gotten hurt quite a bit more at this age.
Hey, Tom's in the house.
Yeah, what's going on, Tom? But when I was getting back to LeBron with the money and everything, he doesn't have all those yes men. He has guys that kind of challenge him in his group, where they tell him, do this, do that. And if he says yes or no, they're going to challenge him. Whereas some guys, they can't take that from their group. The group kind of doesn't do that for them. They're just like, they're in it for themselves. And I think that's what helps LeBron out, is the fact that his group is looking out for him, not just themselves.
Well, I think the great thing about his group is the fact, just from the beginning, they didn't come to LeBron with their hands out. Yeah. They came to him like, look here, we got a degree in this. We've done this. We've done that. Let's get together. Let's put something together where we both can benefit. I don't know, with professional athletes, man, I don't think people really understand how much, people, have their hands out and expecting so much. And that's one of the things I like to talk with athletes about too, instead of, giving, you know what I mean? Like, let's try to set up something where, we can help people where, they're earning for themselves. And stop those things from coming out of your pocket. So I just think that when you surround yourself with those kind of people, that LeBron has, the sky's the limit. I tell people all the time, you get a team like LeBron's, which is rare to have that kind of team, and what can you say?
Yeah, especially when one of his best friends is his manager, and from what everybody says, he does a great job at managing him. And that's why he keeps him there, because he can trust him. You got the trust level high, and that's what these athletes need. They need to be able to trust the people that are there supporting them, instead of having to worry about them when you're already worrying so much playing and getting ready for games, working out, and all that. That's just a big deal in itself. But now that you have to worry about the others surrounding you when you're not on the basketball court, that just adds a lot more pressure. And the fact that you go in with the breakthrough camp and you try and talk to the kids and other people early, it's only beneficial for them to learn the things that they're going to have to worry about if they want to do this when they get to that point in time where they can choose that route.
Oh, 100%, man. Man, I tell people, if people don't think you're crazy, man, you might not be that good in what you're doing. People always tell kids, everybody that I know that's successful, people think they're crazy. Like the way I used to train and the way I work out, so many people like, man, you crazy. Why are you working out like that? Just me playing on a team with Kobe Bryant was insane to be able to see his work ethic. But, when you can get that kind of compliment that people like, man, he's insane. Why is he working like that? I mean, that's the thing that you want from your peers, and be able to put in that kind of work and understand what it takes to be able to be successful and all the things that's lining up, surrounding the game and understanding that. And once you can understand that, it's easier to be able to go about handling it.
One of the questions I did have for you was, of course, you were on the team with the Sixers that made it to the NBA Finals. How was the mindset for you going in? Because once George Lynch got hurt, you were the guy that took his spot in the lineup, and you stepped in. How's your mindset going into that, having to take that next step to where you basically played more minutes, you played well, I thought, and then getting to be able to play in the NBA Finals against a team like the Lakers that going into that hadn't lost a game at all, getting into the finals?
Well, when you've been working on your craft so long, and you come to a point where you're not playing as many minutes as you want. I'm big at doing everything that I can control. Like showing up to practice an hour early. Busting my butt. The entire time we practicing. After everybody else leaves, because that's preparing me for when I do get an opportunity, I'm already ready. So when people talk about, you got to stay ready, so you don't have to get ready, that was always my mentality. So whenever the opportunity presented itself, I wanted to make sure that I did all the things that I needed to be doing to be able to sustain, because practicing and being in the games are two totally different things. So if you're not practicing and preparing yourself for game-like situations and stuff like that, and I think, I have to tip my hat off to Larry Brown as well, because he's one of those coaches that kept each player ready to play at all times. Because, you may not play for 5 games, and then he'll throw you in there for 35 minutes. So, it was just one of those things that he did that kind of kept me on the line, like, okay, well, I'm going to always stay ready. And that was always my mentality, stay ready so I don't have to get ready. So that was more of that, and being able to just get an opportunity. When you've been playing basketball your whole life and you've been a superstar for so long, and you get to the highest level, and then you're not as playing as many minutes as you was accustomed to playing. You know, you don't sit back and watch. You just want to be able to go in and do all the things you can control, hoping that you get that opportunity, and the opportunity is rare. So you just, you know, don't knock things against yourself. Do the things that you can control. Like, you know, don't give the coaches reason not to play. Like, oh, okay, well, he didn't do this, so you know. And that was one of my things. Do everything that I can do in my power, because at the end of the day, if I'm not getting that time, you know, I feel better about doing everything that I did to be able to earn it. And you know, that was just my mentality to stay ready.
Yeah, that's the hunger that you want in players, where if they're not playing, you want them to put the work in the gym and put the work where they can control what they can control. Because just like you said, if they're getting ready, they're improving. If they get that opportunity, you want to be able to capitalize on it. You want to be able to go in there and show that coach that, hey, I put the work in. Now that you put me in, this is my time to shine. And if I can help the team win, that's all I can. That's all I can do. Like, I'm here to help the team out, but I'm also here to showcase myself.
All right, Daniel, is that your last one? We can let
Yeah.
Jermaine. Okay. All right. So, Jermaine, you know I typically do this one, my friend. I kind of throw the proverbial microphone over to you. Anyone you would like to thank? You know, any charities you want to show some love to? Any of the upcoming events you want to plug? Well, you know, we are already talking about the book and everything like that, but the floor is yours, my friend.
Well, I do have I'm having a mental health awareness event in Philadelphia at a private location. It's going to be May 14th. I'll be having at least 15 to 20 former professional athletes from different sports that will be coming in and speaking up and speaking out on a lot of things that they experience, and try to get people to understanding about professional athletes. You know, just because they're making millions and millions of dollars, you know, I just like to get people opportunities to be able to speak out and to be able to help other athletes, because a lot of times we get these athletes in the space, you know, they're not ready to speak on a lot of things. But if we put them in a room and seeing that they're not alone, you know, that gives them that motivation to be able to, you know, kind of, I guess you could say, get that, you know, get your confidence back going again, you know, because once sport ends, man, you know, it's something you've been doing your whole life. It's never been easy. So just trying to give these kids and give these athletes an opportunity to be able to speak their truth. And guys that's not ready to speak their truth, is always good to be in the room. So I'm doing that, and it's going to be Mental Health Month, which is in May. I think it was a good thing to put together. I'll also be doing, you know, doing some things here in Georgia where I am right now. You know, speaking with some athletes and schools and going into stuff like that. And I really be open to do more. I think that the only way that we can make our communities better if we're doing the work. And like you said, I've been having my running shoes on to be able to do whatever. Anytime I get an opportunity to be able to share my experiences with anybody, whether it's in the community and schools or our youth, you know, I'm willing to do it. And if you want to keep up with my events, you can go onto my website at beyondthehardwood.net. Often you see how busy I've been. So, you know, if anybody in the area, you know, schools, anything that, you know, in the communities that you feel that I can be useful. If you want to know the things that I'm doing, what my organization is about, like I said, you can go onto my website, give you more information on the things that we're doing. I'm open to be able to collaborate with anyone that's trying to do the same thing that I'm doing out in the communities.
Absolutely love it, Jermaine. Love
Yeah.
love having you on here, my friend. Definitely, I'll be keeping in touch with you. Shoot you some messages. Like I said, I'm gonna send you a few things. You know, see if we can get you linked up with some more people doing some like-minded things here in Philadelphia as well. And you know, likewise, anything when you have something coming up, please, let us know. we're more than happy to get the word out there for our listeners to kind of engage with what you're involved with. Mental health awareness month is next month, and it's something that we're definitely not strangers to here for any of us here on A2D Radio, friends, family, etc. All been affected by it in some way, shape, or form, and anything else you're involved with, my friend. As always, you always got our support. Appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a happy Easter. Be safe, and we'll definitely get you on here again in the future, my friend.
I appreciate you guys. You guys take it easy. Happy Easter.
All right, happy Easter. All right, everyone. That was Jermaine Jones, man. Another great one with him, man. Always fun picking his brain. Talking about some things going on. Like I said, we're gonna organize some giveaways for our listeners. Yeah. We'll do something with maybe something with an auction, something like that. Definitely love with what he's done with what time he spent in the NBA, giving back and things of that nature. Some guys just they never quite get the star they get, and they just want to hurry up and get out of it. They
just want to get a quick paycheck and then go. That's the
there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, like people get so mad at Ronda Rousey about how she's gone about her combat sports career. Like, listen, however you want to go about it, whatever makes you happy, whatever's your thing, do what you do while you can, when you can.
But it's a good thing to know that it's just these guys are just not coming in there and then be like, okay, let's play. You got to put work into being the athlete that you are at the time that you're there, and you got to put the work in. And he just showed it that you got to be ready at all times. You can't just wake up and be like, okay, let's go. You got to be ready 24/7, 7 days a week. Even in the off season, you got to put the work in to continue no matter what level you're at. Like he wasn't one of the stars of the team. He was a role player, but he got himself ready like he was going to play heavy minutes, and that's what he did. And that's what helps you prolong your career. And I love the fact that he's given back to the communities for these kids that need to learn that.
Philadelphia, he's there in Georgia, where where he is most of the time and things of that nature. It's not just one aspect. Like he's looking at, like I said, it's like an onion with just not just sports and people involved with it. There's just so many different layers to everything in life, man. It's just like I said, it's always fun catching back up with him and connecting with what he's doing. Interesting that he thinks it's coming from the East. Hopefully
he's right.
Hopefully it's our 10-9-8 76ers as they're able to secure the win game one. Like I said, are you still feeling 5 now, or
I'm staying 5, because just like I said, I think that Toronto might steal one in Toronto, but I still think that 5 games is still good. They look good here. We might have a game where Embiid has that 40-point night where we got to kind of rely on him a little bit if one of the other 2 guys doesn't have a good night. But that's okay as long as you have games like this where it's more balanced, where Embiid can score 19 and that's good enough to win by 20. Like I said, he didn't score anything in the second half, and we won by 20 points, which is if you told us before this game that he would go scoreless in the second half, you'd be like, I don't know what our chances are winning in that scenario, but we just went and did it and won handily. So it allows you to go into a game now where he can carry the load now if somebody's not having that game like they did game 1.
It's either 5 or 6 for me. I still feel like they're going to lose one. I guess we'll switch gears real here. Unless the listeners want to talk some more basketball. Well, got some more overall sports to talk about. And this next segment is brought to you by Gleason Bar and Grill. Is located at 6700 Mill Creek Avenue in Levittown, PA. Use that promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, order online. GleasonBarandSteaks.com. Make sure you're checking them out. We're gonna be talking some football, and hopefully we can get to some combat sports, some UFC. Obviously, we got some local talent fighting tonight. Pat Sabatini's gonna be on shortly, I believe, or did he already go?
He is about to come in. They're doing the
yeah,
walkouts now, so he should be getting going in the next couple minutes.
And I already said, people, if y'all wanted to make some money tonight, Pat Sabatini by submission, you'll thank me later on. I promise you.
Exactly. He's such a great fighter. Fights out of Philadelphia, Gracie Gym. He's undefeated right now in the UFC. And I see the same thing there in that matchup. But
back to some football.
Yeah,
had some fun things happen this week. Mr. Stephon Gilmore was apparently this close to being an Eagle, wound up being a Colt. That's going to be interesting. That Colt secondary has gotten pretty good this postseason with Gilmore. Roddy McLeod, whether you feel his time here was done, he was on the backside of it, whatever. I still feel he has a year or two left. We'll see how that happens. That Colts secondary looks pretty tough. And, you also had, David Carr re-up with the Raiders as well. What do you think of those re-signings? And, how do you feel, Gilmore and Carr helps their prospective teams moving forward?
I think the Gilmore signing was really good for the Colts. They need that other piece. That team relies a lot on that defense in the secondary, and then of course the back end. They get good front three, front four push, but they rely a lot on that linebacking core making tackles, and then the secondary covering the wide receivers. And then of course we already know that they replaced Wentz with Matt Ryan. So with that offense being unknown right now, I can only assume that they're going to get better. They have to keep that defense intact. That was one of those top 10 defenses in there. And I think the Derek Carr one was basically just the fact that the reason Davante Adams signed with them, of course, was the fact that Derek Carr was his teammate in college. He's very comfortable with them. They already have that rapport there. You're not going to go and replace him after a year. So I think they're looking to lock him up now. It wasn't that bad of a deal, considering the fact that every year it feels like the standard amount for a quarterback has been going up, and up, thanks to Patrick Mahomes. So he's only getting, what is it, $35 million a year, I believe it is, maybe close to 40, which 3-4 years ago would be high, but now it's not even high. It's not even top 5 now. So they lock him up. He can keep going. His first couple of years in the league, he was really good, and then had the awful injury that cost him playing in the playoffs. That one year they went 12-4, and then he's kind of been teetering on just decent levels since then. But then he had a good year this year, and now you get Adams in there. They give some weapons, and you can see what he can truly do with a guy like that, because he did well with Amari Cooper there, but now you're getting Davante Adams, one of the top receivers in the game, and you already know who he is from playing with him in college. So it might be a thing that takes him to the next level, and he's going to have to in that division with how many quarterbacks that they have there with Herbert, Russell Wilson, and then we all know who else, of course, Patrick Mahomes. So
now, again, love the Gilmore signing. Carr, he was, I was hoping maybe, wouldn't get a long-term extension. He's someone, I thought would be a nice potential holding piece to replacements. Could be potential replacements if Jalen Hurts doesn't work out here. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how he does there. I know the Oakland media and fans aren't really big car guys, so we'll see
Well,
how that.
luckily for him, they're in Vegas now, so he doesn't have to deal with those guys too much now. And Vegas has been more kind to him than Oakland was.
Yeah, but you still have the majority of I think the Raiders media and or fan
Yes.
base. I don't think it is. I would even think is even 40% behind Derek Carr. I mean,
Yeah.
like and I think we still have a lot of people who hate on Jalen here or love him here. So it's kind of a similar situation with what we have here. But we'll see how the next week or so plays out. I think we're within now 7 days of the NFL draft. Where free agency is thinning out. Cornerbacks are looking thin in the free agent market.
And
There's
speaking
still
of
that big name.
yeah, I
There's
was
still
going to say
that
this.
big name. I think you said you were seeing some things. Did you were you
I
able
saw-
to verify anything?
I've seen reports. It's nothing from any big outlets, so I'm going to take it at some sort level. But in the past couple of days, there's been talks that Tyrann Mathieu has been talking to the Eagles, and he could be close to signing. So, and one of those sources is a pretty decent source, but until I see like one of those like Adam Scheffler or something like that,
Yeah.
I'm not going to take it until I hear anything in the media, TV wise. But if we could get somebody like that and get him for like a discounted price because of how long he's had to wait, that's a big sign in there just because of the fact that he's that guy in the back of the defense that is basically like the captain of the team. Like he's there calling plays out. He's always talking to the team, getting going. He has that alpha mentality, and he could come in here and make a difference on this team at the safety position.
We'll see. Like I said, you think we're going to see any player trades between now and the draft as losing guys on the roster, not adding guys? You think that there's still
The only guy that I think that we could trade or look to trade is Jalen Reagor. That's the only guy that I think that would be up for grabs. I could see us maneuvering draft picks around like we've already done already, because we do have 3 third-round picks and a couple of fifth-round picks, so we can use that to move up one of those into the second again. And that way, we'd have 2, 2, and 2, or we would have like 2 seconds and then maybe only have 1/3. We would maneuver around to use the assets to improve our draft stock. But I think this is a draft where, like, I think if they do get Tyrann Mathieu, that could change what we do in the first round, because you do have a couple safeties there in the first round, like Hamilton's fallen because of his 40 speed. He was projected to be like a top 5, top 10 pick. Now he's projected top 15 now. So he could be a guy that could somehow fall to us. And we were thinking about taking him. But if you draft Tyrann Mathieu, you might not do that anymore. You might look elsewhere.
Now Rager's traded, but does that mean wide receivers no go day 1, day 2, or do you still say?
I think
you think if there's something of value that Howie will make a move?
I think they're still looking at wide receiver, especially, like I said, you got this crazy case with the combine and everything where a lot is judged by how high you can jump and then your 40 time. But then when you look into it, it's like if a guy runs fast in game, that he runs fast in game, the running a 40 time is not going to be a difference in there. Of course, there's some guys that are exceptions, like Tyreek Hill, where he's just so quick. And even though he's small, he can just burn past you, regardless of that. But if like a guy like Drake London falls to you at 15 and he's the number 1 wide receiver on the board, how do you not entertain that? You're not going to say no like maybe you would have before, but you're going to entertain it because then that's a guy that you can pair with Devontae Smith, and you have two high quality players there for Jalen Hurts to throw to. Because at the end of the day, you're kind of trying to audition Jalen Hurts for the long time position at quarterback. You had the small size last year, and that's why he's still the quarterback this year. But with the picks that you have this year, next year, and you only have 2 more years of him being $1 million before you have to entertain the idea of, is he your guy where you're going to have to sign long-term, or are you going to move on?
I think the bigger one who you're in that situation with first, I think is Miles Sanders. And, he's saying it's personal this year. I hope he's running angry this year. I hope he's running angry this year. I really do. I love me some Miles. I'm an absolute Penn State fool. You can love me or hate me for that for whatever reason you may pick, but definitely got love for Miles. Hopefully he's able to get his proverbial monkey off his back, just like James Harden's trying to get his playoff monkey off of his back. I hope he gets that stigmata off of him. I hope this team is firing on all cylinders. Hopefully we can fill some more holes. Do some good with these picks, and we'll see what happens. I don't want to dwell too much on football. I know where it's going to rule next week.
Next week you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
We're gonna have another returning guest as Florida Gator, former Tennessee Titan, Ben Troop will be back on. We'll be talking to football with him. We're gonna have some fun. Another one with I think his book is officially out too as well. So we'll talk some more of that with him next week. Combat sports was definitely in full effect. Locally, regionally, internationally. You had Art of War last night here in Philadelphia. You had Cage Fury Fighting Championship. You got,
and it's gonna be, and tonight it's in Atlantic City.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
And you double up, and then you have to have UFC Fight Night with Mr. Sabatini.
He's looking good right now. So they're in the second round, and right now he's leading. He's had a couple of takedowns. He's actually looked pretty good with his striking in the first round. He caught Laramie with a nice shot, so that's something good to see here. He has him on the ground looking for a submission.
Like I said, man, submission.
2.
Let's get it. Yeah. Let's get it.
Let's get it. And then, of course, last night you had Belter. You had a lot of controversy last night.
Yeah, man. I gotta say, my man Litton Vassell loves getting the good old blood pressure up, man, with the come behinds, man.
Yeah, he was so close to being finished, and then he came back, and I'm just like, Tim Johnson just blew himself out trying to knock him out. But then you had of course, no contest with the headbutt. And I will say it was an accidental headbutt.
Yeah, but it's rough, especially when we're talking belts and millions of dollars. It's rough to watch a guy.
It's crazy that it was the finals. Yeah. So it's like they've already said that they're going to have the rematch back.
Obviously, you have to run that back.
It's more than likely going to be July, August. They said they're going to run it back.
I actually got to ask you about this one. What do you think about that main event, about that Pitbull wrestling that title away from AJ McKee?
I thought McKee won, to be honest. I thought it was.
I still think he's one of the undervalued featherweight fighters that we have, dude. His dad is arguably one of the best minds that we have in combat sports. His son is literally a chip off the old block. And
he's worked with Chuck Liddell, and one of Chuck Liddell's last fights in that trilogy fight with Ortiz, both AJ and his father were in his corner for that fight. So it shows how much people can rely on him. But he has that height. He has a karate background, and everybody forgets that. That's why he does that stance is the Shotokan background that he had early on. And then he has the big-time jiu-jitsu background. I felt like he won that fight because he landed twice as much. A lot of what he was doing was working. I felt like he had 1, 3, and 5, and I felt like 2 and 4. I don't know where that one judge was, where the one judge only gave him round 5, and that's it. I thought the other 2 judges were okay. I still don't know how it was like Pitbull, but then the intriguing thing is when he came out and did the post fight. I don't know if you watched that, but he said that he's done at featherweight now, and he's gonna go back to 155 pounds now, which is kind of ironic because we all know who the champion at 155 is. It's not that much of a change in opponent. So, is he taking the easy way out, or is he just so disgusted with the decision that he just said something out of emotion rather than thinking about what he was going to say?
Yeah, I mean that's what you could probably think. Like, when you have a decision like that, it's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
It's just like when we're talking of Brady retired 3 weeks after the season.
Yes.
And then here we are. He's done it. He's back doing whatever. So it's like one of these things where you have to take it with a grain of salt. Anything else you want to touch on before we put a bow on this? Like I said,
other than that, okay, they just finished round 2, so it's round 3. What is your overall aspect of the MMA community now? Like, we haven't really been able to talk about it because there's a lot that's been in the Philly area that we've been able to talk about.
Well, yeah, like I said, you had Art of War last night. You have Maverick MMA. You got freaking Cage Fury Fighting Championship, Fury Grappling. You have a lot of the area fighters that are really starting to make a name for themselves. I'm looking forward to seeing hopefully seeing more of the female talent start to get some push as well. Listen, it's a hotbed, man. It's really just a matter of time before people either find out the depth that we have here in the local area,
and we got another guy fighting. We got another guy fighting in the UFC in a couple of weeks. Andre Petrosky. He's a renegade guy.
Yeah, man.
And he's going to be fighting there. He has a tough matchup, but I like his chances there. It's just everybody thinks of MMA. They don't realize how much talent we have in this area.
Well, no, because everyone still, thinks that we're just Eddie Alvarez's city. As much
or
as I love Eddie, as much as
boxing city, or we're boxing city because we think.
Well, no one even gives no one even gives Jerron Ennis the love he deserves. He arguably should be a superstar right now, but I guess he hasn't gotten up the political ladder yet, but we'll see how that goes. I think he's another superstar waiting to happen. He could very well be better than the Executioner was. We'll see if he can make B-Hop look like somebody else. We'll see. We'll see if he's able to break the latest legacy of the latest Philadelphia boxing star. We'll see.
And one thing I want to point out before we leave, the Phillies are going to win 10-3.
Yeah, I just seen that 10-3.
Went out there, and then the Union looked like they're going to get the first loss. They're going to lose to Toronto FC 2-1. So I have a couple people that I know that are at the game, and that they're in extra time now. So let's hope they can push the tie. If not, they are actually one of the best built teams in there. So I think that they would recover from this loss. There's 30+ games in a season for a reason. You're going to have this, but we've had a full slate today with 4 or 5 teams in the area, and
it doesn't stop, man. Combat sports, your big 4 or 5, however you look at it. Being in the news. Well, listen, it's a fun time to be a sports fan in general. We always have fun here on the weekly roundup, regardless if Zach makes it or not, if I'm here or not. We're always going to have fun here on E2D. Another great guest tonight. Again, we'll be seeing more of Jermaine here. We'll be doing some more things, programming wise, etc. with him. we'll be back next week, guys. Like I said, Ben Troop will be back with us. We'll be talking some NFL draft, having some fun. Hopefully Zach will be back, and there won't be a young player injury. Keeping him from his hosting duties with me and Daniel. We'll have some fun. We'll do some more things. Like I said, again, guys, keep yourself locked in, keep engaged, man. We got some stuff working, giveaways, things. Like I said, I was already showed you guys the that dual auto mini helmet that I have here. We working some things out. I got still signed jerseys to give away. I got some things I'm working on. Some more guests. We'll see what the rest of the week holds. Keep your ears and eyes peeled. You never know. You might see an athlete spotlight hop up. It is draft week. You never know. I haven't been able to get some of the fighters on as much on here recently. You never know what I might pull out of my hat. But other than that, this was another fun episode of the weekly roundup. I'm Steve. That's Daniel. We will be back next week. Same time.